Hey guys, this is God of Politics and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description. But in this video, I will be doing the best case scenario for Senate Republicans. Now, I did do the video for the Democrats, the best case scenario the Democrats could get in the Senate about a week ago, but now I am doing the best case scenario for Republicans. I've done this video before, but you will see some changes in this map that may be surprising, but may not be surprising. So, as always, we will start out with the safe Republican states, and in this scenario, there are a lot of safe Republican states. First is the state of Idaho, as well as Wyoming, Nebraska, as well as Alaska, as well as Kansas. Barbara Bollier could easily lose by a safe margin normally to Roger Marshall. In this scenario, most definitely be a safe margin. Oklahoma, as well as John Cornyn. John Cornyn is not as bad a candidate as Ted Cruz, and he's also not as bad a candidate as Donald Trump. The polls have shown, it being, in the likely margin, but in a good scenario, he could win it by a safe margin, as well as Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and even South Carolina and West Virginia. So after and Georgia's special election, if they have Loeffler versus Collins winning the top two, which would then go to a runoff between two Republicans, which would effectively make it a safe margin there. So that's going to be 46 Republicans after the safe, 47 after South Dakota, 47 Republicans after the safe states. And then for Democrats, I do believe they could win Oregon by a safe margin, Illinois by a safe margin, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and that would be it. So Republicans are after the safe states at 47 seats. Democrats are at 41. Now, getting into these likely margin states, Democrats do have a couple here. Republicans first have Iowa, which, you do have a Joni Ernst here who's not very popular, running against Teresa Greenfield. And some polls have shown it to be close, even with Teresa Greenfield winning, but it is still Iowa, quite a swingy state, but also quite a red state now, a state that's trended red. So I do believe that could go by a likely margin, as well as Georgia, the non-special election, which I do believe could go by a likely margin. You have John Ossoff here versus David Perdue, and while David Perdue is not a good candidate here, all things considered, he still could win by a likely margin. And then for the Democrats, I do believe they could win Virginia by a likely margin. You have Mark Warner here, who is, quite popular here in Virginia. Is a state that's trying to blue. Republicans could maybe get it just below 10 percentage points to get it in the likely margin, as well as New Mexico, a state that probably won't be too competitive at all, but could go by a likely margin, as well as the state of New Hampshire. You have Jeanne Shaheen here, who is quite popular, and the Republican candidate isn't very good, but, it is still New Hampshire, a little bit closer to the presidential level, so I do admit that that could be a little bit closer. So after the likely margin states, Republicans are almost at the majority here. They are at 49 seats. Democrats are at 44 seats. Now, getting into these lean margin states, Republicans also getting it to the 50th seat would win Montana by a likely margin, I do believe. We have Steve Daines against Steve Bullock. While Steve Bullock is a good candidate, he's the governor, he's doing quite well in fundraising and in the polls, it is still Montana quite a red state. So I do believe in a good scenario, best case scenario for Republicans, they could win Montana. Now, for the lean margin states, there are no lean margin states for the Republicans, but I do believe the Democrats, the sole seat that would go to the Democrats by a lean margin would be the state of Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is a state well, you do have Tina Smith, who's not the best candidate, but she won quite easily in 2018, and the candidate Jason Lewis for the Republicans is not that good either in terms of fundraising, but we had a couple polls here and there showing it a little bit closer, so I do admit that, in the best case scenario, Republicans can make it at least a little bit close. So that's all the lean margin states. You could argue maybe Susan Collins gets it by lean margin, but I highly doubt it. And then the tilt margin states for Republicans first, to get them to 51 seats, I do believe they could very, very narrowly win Michigan. Now, John James is not the best candidate. He's really not doing well in the polls here, and Gary Peters is not is doing well in the polls. He's doing well in fundraising, but John James is doing better in fundraising than he did in 2018, and a group just announced they're spending $5 million on John James, and Donald Trump would have to win it by around 2 percentage points here. This would be very, very, very narrow, but I do believe John James could narrowly pull it off in this scenario, although I think it's highly unlikely in a regular scenario. As for North Carolina, I do believe Tom Tillis could narrowly win. Tom Tillis is in deep trouble right now in terms of fundraising, in terms of polling, in terms of trends, in terms of every metric. Tom Tillis is not doing very well right now, and I do believe that isn't going to bode well for him, but he can narrowly pull off a victory if Trump can pull him over the line by winning by around 2 percentage points or so. I do believe he could be able to do it, as well as the state of Maine. Maine is a state where you have Susan Collins, who is not the best candidate. She's in the fight for her political life here against Sarah Gideon, who she's not doing well in the polls against. She's not doing well in fundraising, and, Maine is a blue state overall, and so it is going to be tough for Susan Collins to win, but she can do it, and she can probably do it by around 1.5 percentage points in this scenario. Although I do believe that Colorado and Arizona would still go to the Democrats. Martha McSally is really, really bad. Like, she didn't even win in 2018. She lost by 2.6 percentage points, and she still got appointed to the seat. She's been down by huge margins in the polls. She's being outraised by double by Mark Kelly, and she's an incumbent, and it is a state that is trending blue. So I really don't see any scenario, pretty much, in which Martha McSally could win. Even the most Republican-leaning pollsters and internals still show that Mark Kelly is either tied or winning the race. So I don't think Martha McSally has much of a chance at all. In Colorado, it is also even more of a blue state than Arizona is. John Hickenlooper is a really popular governor. Well, he's had some scandals against Cory Gardner. He's had some scandals. He'll still do well enough against Cory Gardner in this scenario to be able to win it. So overall, this would be a net change of 0. Republicans would flip the state of Alabama, and Republicans would flip Alabama and Michigan. Democrats would flip Colorado and Arizona. Democrats would very narrowly win Arizona in this scenario. Republicans would very narrowly win Michigan. If you want to switch those out, you're going to still have a scenario where Democrats and Republicans are both at 53-47 there. So overall, that is a map that I do see being the best case scenario for the Republicans in the Senate. But yeah, overall, thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, join the Discord that is linked down in the description. So again, guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys later.